Got a hot tub that just runs and it will not go past apparently 80. Shows that the heat's on. Pumps work. Let's see what the temp is right now. 103, and it just won't go above 80. Just because the heat says it's on doesn't mean it's on. So first thing you want to do is you want to test the element. More than likely it's going to be underneath where the keypad is. We've got the side panel off. VS series spot pack. It's an older one. So we want to open this up. 2 screws are at the top. So I'm going to test the element right now. I'll link a meter down below. Gonna make sure right now it's on DC. Gotta make sure it's on, we got volts. So right now it's on volts. And make sure it's on AC. So you gotta be careful because it's gonna be live. Got around 240 on that. Now the clamp is too thick. I can't get it around there. A lot of times it's like just a wire. So you might have to get 2 different types. One's that's skinnier than this. The skinnier one's better because then you can do it on any type. Make sure your amps is on AC. So I've got a smaller meter here for the amps. Has the clamps, it's smaller than our other one. So there's the one we couldn't use yesterday, and then there's a smaller one. So right now it's live. I'm going to test the amps. So you've got it on amps, and this one's automatic. They don't have to switch anything. So I don't have to switch to DC or... A lot of times when it runs like that, it just keeps on running. Normally when you open the door, you can look at those black relays there. Normally you'll see the black marks over in the bottom here. Like this one here or this one here. So you look very closely to see if it's burnt or discolored. That's usually the first giveaway. So right now it looks like it's kind of looking like it's the element. So I'm going to change that element out because it's cheaper than doing the whole board. It still could be a board. We had to empty the whole tub because there's no shut-off valves anywhere on either side. So to take this out, we had to drain the whole thing. I'll show you how to take this heat tube out. So the first thing you want to do is undo these sensors, and it should be hand tight, well, finger tight. It goes off. That one's gonna be tough. Yeah. Doesn't matter what Balboa pack you have, this is pretty much the same for all of them because you got the 2 sensors. And so if you have these leads here, you got to be really careful on twisting these. So we're going to take these leads off here. Now these are really easy coming off right now. I've had them where they just twist. So you might have to take it off the board so you don't wreck these and twist them all up. Because normally you can get underneath here, have another one to get underneath the smaller one. But this style here, you can't get a wrench under these. But if you have just the normal line like a wire, then you can probably get underneath here to hold the element so you're not twisting it all. You're replacing it anyway, so it doesn't matter if it breaks. Out of the way, straight up. Your setup might be a little different than this, but I know if I try to unscrew these, well, a little bit of water is going to be in there anyway because we drained it. But because it's kind of cold outside right now, even if I undo this, it's a pain in the butt to try to move. Balboa is just a terrible design on these grounds on the side like this. Sometimes your hands are in the way, you're just wrecking your knuckles. And then on this side, they do the same thing. All the wires coming in, so a lot of times it's hard. This one here is not too bad. Yours might be really bad to undo these. A lot of times there's no room. And these here, the pipe, you might be able to move. As long as you can move one side or the other, then you can take these off. Just unscrew them. But what I'm going to show you right now, because I know I'm going to have a problem, and back in. How it goes on a 90 like that, I'm going to have a hard time pushing it that way. And it does the same thing here. I got a 90, and I won't be able to push it that way. So to get this back in, it's going to be really tough. So I'm going to try one side. I'm going to do the one side because it seems like there's a lot of space right here. And then this side, I'm going to take this black piece off. You might have to do both sides to take them off. But I'll show you how to do that right now. So this side, we're going to undo this side. Yeah, I moved it over. But you see what I mean? If you move this right over, right against it, it just barely fits in there. Right there. So when you put it back together, there's a gasket in there. And it's going to be hard to put on. Trust me, you've done it a couple times. You move this one a little bit. So this side, get the screws. Where you can see the two screws right there. One. Should be another one. One right there. So we're going to undo those. Just remember how it goes back together. Put your two screws somewhere. Don't lose them. Take one side off. Take the other side. Just remember how they went on. So it goes on the back side like that, and you have this one here. You have these two pieces here and here. So when you do put them back together, it just fits right in there. It's nice, so it doesn't spin. But that's how it's going to go back, right on like that, and then you screw them. Okay. You might have to take both of them off or none of them off. It always depends on your situation. So next, we got that off. We got that ready. The sensors, we're actually gonna don't disconnect them from the board right here, and we're gonna have a nut right here, this one right here, and there's one underneath. Like there's a plate here, and there's one underneath there somewhere. So take those off. So you just kind of shake it out. Don't pull it out all the way. See how this side came out easy because I didn't have that thing there, and then this one here, that's what's getting caught up. See? Don't pull it out too far because you don't want to yank these out. So we've already unscrewed those. You just pull those up. Be careful. You just got to stay close. You want to yank the wire right out, but usually they just come right out like that. So when you do pull them out, just clean them all off. Yeah, see the black O-ring right there? Make sure that comes with it when you pull it out. A lot of times those O-rings will stay right on the top here. And we're going to be moving this heat tube around to, put the element in. Sometimes they fall out. You don't notice it. So when you first pull out the sensor, make sure those gaskets are on there, both sides. Right there. Just remember what side, one on one side. One's going to be longer than the other one anyway. So I just kind of hang them up somewhere out of the way. Since we got it all out, check your gaskets. We're going to replace these on both sides. Yeah, we're going to put new ones. I could throw them back in, but we're going to put two new ones. Okay, once you get the element out, you look on the element itself. You would have done it ahead of time. You would have ordered your element way before you took this out, because the information is right in the front. There's a 5.5 kilowatt, and it's offset. It's not right in the center of the tube. It's offset a bit. Next, we're going to take the element out. So undo these. Actually, we're going to look inside of it. Oh, we'll take it out. So take those off. Again, it may be tough. Yours might be really, really tough. Sometimes you can spin that, and it breaks inside, and it's a pain in the butt. You got to get a grinder and cut these bolts without hitting the heat tube. So just put that in the side, over to the side, just in case you have to use them. Normally you don't. Tap it down, it should fall out. And on the inside, just kind of push it or out. Fall out. Now usually there's an obvious rust mark on it or damage or something. This one, I can't see anything. But I'll show you how to put a new one on. That's an offset right there. That's what it should look. Because there's going to be a sensor over here. So, and then the sensor on the other side goes right in the middle. So we got our new one. A little fancy. Try not to scrape it too much. Come with a package. You get 2 O-rings. And you put some grease, and I'll link this stuff down below. The grease I use, the element. I'll put a 4 kilowatt and a 5 kilowatt. So I'm just gonna grease those all up. And you put those on. Snug. Snug as a bug. Okay, the trick. So it's going to be in there like that. So we're going to put it the closest side. Put the heat tube right in there. Don't scrape it too much. And then you got to spin it. This one's not too bad. Your heat tube might be slightly different. You're going to spin it right there. There we go. Try to grab that. Make sure your O-rings are on. And with your new bolts. Put those on. So you look down the center of the tube, and you don't want anything touching anywhere. So you just look straight down, and you don't want anything touching the side. You can move it a bit, even the top. So if it's hitting, like if this side was hitting, I would take one of the big screwdrivers and kind of push the element down once after I tighten this. So, and you want it centered, slightly off. So what I do is I stick my hand, stick it in the end like this. I put like 2 fingers and on either side, and I kind of hold it in the center where I think it's center, and then I'll tighten it because you can feel it twisting on you. This whole thing will twist. So you can pull it back. You can keep it centered with your fingers. See? Just holding it dead center. See, right now I'm tightening this, and with my other hand I'm kind of pushing it down because it's forcing it up this way. The element wants to go this way, so I'm pushing it down. So you just want to do this snug. You don't want Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. There. Center, not touching anything. So everything's good. Gonna make sure where the sensors go in right here. Gonna make sure that there's nothing hung up like hair or dirt or anything like that. It happens. Okay, and then we're ready to put that back together. Now this bottom one here, I just take it right off. It's a pain because you're gonna end up doing this again. So I just keep the top one as long as it's snug. Before we put it back, put our 2 new gaskets in. But we're going to grease those up, because if we just leave them dry and keep them in there, they just fall out. You got to make sure that is sitting there properly. You can't have them pinched. You can't, you just got to be in there good. So I find that even greasing it up, I find that if you grease it up on the other side of it, and a little bit on this side, but mostly on the other side, But if you push them in, it kind of keeps them in there. They're all greased up. This one's sitting in there better than this one. This one's kind of giving me a hard time because we don't have any shutoffs here, and I would hate to have when you know, if it's kinked, doesn't matter how much you tighten this, it's going to stay kinked and it's going to leak. I hate to fill it up and start it and then it leaks somewhere down the road. All right, so we got our heat tube. So I'm going to try to do this with one hand. So I try to get in, because see that the nut is going to hit the side of the pack. So what I'm going to do is, see, each tub is different, every situation is different. So I'm going to push this end here. I'm going to push that and then bring that side in. Keeping the gaskets in there too. At the same time, you're going to do all this stuff at the same time. Twist it to get the top screw on right here. Right there. And slide it on. Keep the gaskets on all the way around. Okay, the gasket's good on this side. This side's kind of coming out. See, taking those nuts off sometimes will help you see the gasket that's sitting in there properly. So you got that side. But I know this side's on there pretty good. But just trying to tighten it, because now I got to lift this up and then screw that on. You gotta be pretty gentle, because you don't want that, again, you don't want that gasket falling out as you're doing this. So you gotta hold it together, like push together, sandwich that gasket in there. So I'm just gonna get a little snug, so it's not gonna come away from it. You gotta make sure that this is straight up and down. It's not twisted that way more or this way more. How you can tell is if you have this style, when you push down, it fits in there perfect. Okay. So I don't want this twisting anymore. I'm gonna tighten this top screw. Okay, we got that snug. Kind of move the sensors out of the way. And you get all new stuff with it, so I'd suggest to use it. Put that on. So when you tighten these down, again, it's just snug. Don't over tighten it. Well, you'll know, because if you try to over tighten it, these will start twisting. If you have a different style, when you're tightening it, you're going to have to get a smaller wrench, and it fits right underneath there. Okay, snug. That's done. Then we're going to put the sensors back. So the long one over here. Before you put them in, inspect the O-rings. You could put a little bit of grease in there. Just around here. Make sure these are all cleaned off, so it senses the water temperature better. Just snug again. That's one side. Let me get the other side in. Down. Snug. Snug, snug. Now we're going to put that nut back on. So what I do is, so I know the gasket's on. Cool. It's going to be a pain. So this part here sits on the lip of that heat tube. So you want to kind of, so it doesn't fall off. with a second hand. You gotta put the other piece there. Gaskets on good. Get those two lined up. And you can feel it when you're putting it together if it's in or not, because it clicks in. Well, that's one side. Oh, pain. Sometimes they're easier than others to put in. So we got both in, both together. And I'm going to put those screws in. At least catch it. Try to. Okay, that's good for one. So we got both of them in and just snug. Don't over tighten this part. Then we can tighten it up. Okay, now we can give it a little tweak. I'll leave this. I'll leave a link down below for this tool. It's amazing if you have a pool or a hot tub. It's skinny, it's short, it has more leverage. Rather than having those big honking ones, to try to do this, you can adjust them. So you do that just tight enough, just snug. If it leaks later on, then you can just give it a little bit of a tweak. So got that. There you go. That's enough. And then we're going to start filling it and start it. So we're going to fill it up. We're going to test the element, make sure that everything's running good. We got it almost filled up. I turned the power on because all the jets are covered and it's going to the skimmer, so it's not going to spray everywhere. Right there it might, but it's just going through its programming. It's just purge. So if you hit your temperature, everything's going to come on. So here we go. Here we actually go. I'll set it for 2 lines or 3 lines, whatever you have. It's just thinking as the water's going through. It sounds like I'll have an airlock because I just filled it. So I just turned it on high. Here we go. Here, turn it on high. There we go. And then I turn it off because I know it's gone through. You know, it's flying everywhere. So let's try to get airlock out of the other one. Pump 1. Because that's why we got 2 lights in the airlock. So we're going to have to open up because pump 1 is connected to the heat tube and the sensor. So we're going to have to bleed the air out. See where it's coming from here. So we'll go on this side. Pumps on the other side there. So it'll push through right here. Open that up. Let's close it up a bit. It's just not tighten it right now. We'll turn it on again. Try pump 1 again. Okay, while it's on high, we'll open this up. As soon as you hear the air coming out fast, make sure you shut that off so you don't want it spraying on the board. Because the pump's way back there, I can't get to it. Maybe tighten those back up and no more air leak now it's running. Make sure you check out our other videos. I'll link right above here, 4 ways to test your element. So the 1 meter doesn't fit around there, so you need the clamp for amps. So next day, we put her up to 104. Well, it was 102, and then I just put up 104. And we're going to test it. There you go. Just heard a click. So it's up to 23 amps. We got 21. It's kind of fluctuating.